most of you, our next speaker needs no introduction. He's one of the first soft canine handlers in the world. He's been awarded the Legion of Merit, and he himself has lost a canine partner in combat. Recently retired after 30 years of selfless service, we are very honored to have him here as our ambassador of the Soft Canine Memorial Foundation. It gives me great pleasure to introduce a man that I've known for many years, synonymous with patriotism, Sergeant Major retired Chris Dutch Moyer.
First and foremost, wow. Look around if you haven't already seen all of you. This is amazing. It's fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, canine handlers from across the task force partner spectrum, our federal law enforcement brethren, as well as our local law enforcement partners, distinguished guests, Madison Rising, thank you. Paul Galloway, the board members of the ASOM, friends, family, and all of those of you that have had your lives changed forever by an animal. More specifically, this four-legged animal, this partner you see underneath here, and you'll see it later. Thank you, Lena, for this wonderful depiction of our canine warrior, and thank you all for coming to celebrate this historic occasion with us as we dedicate and unveil the Soft Canine Memorial, the only soft canine memorial on the planet. As Chuck said, my name is Chris Moyer, Dutch to many of you. I was a soft canine handler for a number of years. I handled 3 different soft canines. I lost a great canine partner to enemy fire in 2005 in Iraq, and I later became a manager for a soft canine program. I've recently retired, and I'm privileged to continue to support the great work that Ms. Laura Miller and Chuck Geary have done with this foundation. Without these animals, some of us certainly would not be here. But if not for man, these animals would be running wild in packs, no direction other than just to survive. The dog enables us to accomplish our mission with a higher success rate with more survivability. I believe that there is a time in life for everything. There is a time for us to partner with these animals, these great animals, to save lives and to find the not findable. Today is the day to honor them. As I said before, I had the privilege of being a canine handler for Special Operations Forces almost since the inception. I've come out of a better person. I have learned more about myself and more about fellow man, some good, some bad. And I've learned that this particular kind of mammal is certainly among God's greatest creatures. And I, like Chuck said earlier, we'll come back to that comment in a moment. Started one day when I was attending some very intense training as a soft warrior, and I observed some other men training with dogs. At the time, as a single father of 2 very rambunctious Dalmatians, one of whom I taught to flush birds and tree squirrels, I thought when I grew up within this organization, I would love to partner with a canine. What application could they have, I thought. As I made my way through my training and his different assignments, that opportunity came to me. Like soft training for humans, soft canine training is very hard work. Think about it. Working with a very rambunctious, pea-brained little 3-year-old is not easy. Hard work, yes, but very rewarding. A labor of love. Another thing about this kind of work that fascinated me in particular was the history of man and canine. I thought about the days when the first man interacted with the first canine, the first bonds of man and dog. Canis lupus, the wolf. Now, Canis lupus familiaris, domesticated dog. There's 3 major theories concerning the human-canine bond. One is the biophilia hypothesis. It's our relationship with non-human animals, driven by survival needs. Assistance in acquiring food and safety. Symbiotic there. According to the social support theory, animals are a source of social support and companionship. We already know that. In other words, humans need others to survive. According to self-psychology, an animal gives a sense of cohesion and support. In some cases, individuals have been known to feel stronger, more protected, more powerful in the company of their companion animal. I know this to be true. These men know this to be true. These men know this to be true. So many others also here today know it to be true. Man, as early as 33,000 years ago, lived and died next to canines. Canines came to man when food was hard to come by, and in exchange, he warned that man of potential threats. They decided to stick it out, and here we are. But not before war dogs were used by the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Persians, the Sarmatians, the Slavs, the Britons, and the Romans. Think of that scene in Gladiator, will you? Among the Greeks and Romans, dogs served mostly as sentries or patrol dogs, but sometimes they were taken into battle. The earliest use of war dogs in recorded classical sources was by Alyattes of Lydia against the Cimmerians around 600 BC. Lydian dogs killed some invaders and routed others. Humans have been in the dog business for a long time. I personally believe dogs are blessed and cursed by God. Blessed, certainly to humans, with the awesome ability to find things we cannot. Determine friend from foe just on the wind. Bombs, enemy, dead bodies during recovery operations, rust on a ship, cancer on a patient, tremors in a patient, and much more, much, much more. Loyal partners of humans. Cursed because they lose body heat through convection. They can't speak, and they don't have these thumbs. That's right. Cursed indeed in that regard. They stood by us in the Revolutionary War, World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, and now, present day, as never before. And that is why we honor those that fell on the battlefield alongside their packmates, friends, and fellow warriors. It is difficult to lose one of these dogs. They're extremely difficult to find. Just like every special operator, these dogs are unique and special, not just for the training they receive, but also because of what they are made of. When selecting dogs for service, we look for specific genetic traits. A healthy mix is preferred, but there is one trait that sticks out above the rest. It has been called many different things: heart, courage. Better yet, a term utilized in dog fighting circles. That's right, dog fighting circles. The term is called gameness. The concept of gameness could be described as courage, like I said before, but it's more than that. It's the desire to continue even when faced with extreme fear or danger, overriding the flight syndrome. It's the eagerness to get into the fight, running to the sounds of the guns. Then the absolute commitment to that fight, to stay in it. Professional fighters sometimes describe it as hard, like I said before, but with a darker edge, a self-destructive edge. True gameness doesn't play smart. You see, true gameness keeps coming and coming until it's over, no matter what. It's something you're born with. It can't be taught or trained. Dogs with true gameness are hard to find. Many don't have it. Besides being physically gifted, these animals do receive a large amount of special training and care. This is done by some of the greatest dog trainers, handlers, and vet staff in the world. And without their dedication and hard work, this incredible life-saving capability could not be where it is today. These dogs might die during doing their job. It's true that they probably don't comprehend the risk like humans do, but they do this instinctively. They do feel danger and fear. It's guaranteed. That's for certain. Like all animals, they have the ability to make a conscious decision to flee or to fight. They choose to fight. This alone separates them to the tip of the spear, like the soft warrior. These warriors recognized here spent the majority of their lives fighting for us. They endured long and painful helicopter rides, explosions, gunfire, all to be at the front of our formations. They have cleared thousands of miles of roads, dark buildings, palm groves, fields ahead of our forces. Had it not been for their actions, perhaps some of us would not be here today. They died doing what they loved, hunting with us, the pack. One of my canines was named Falco. You see some of his kit right here. He wore this harness and flat collar when he died. A friend and co-worker of mine picked him out for me. Sometimes we get to go on these trips to Europe, purchase animals. I didn't go on this trip, but Shannon Krieger did, and he picked out a great one. Falco was the dog that most every handler would love to have. He had a hard edge, but not for us. He loved to be around the men, never posed a challenge to friendly forces. We spent huge chunks of time together. When I say huge, I mean it. While we trained up for the next adventure, and that next adventure was Iraq in 2003. Falco was capable as we trained, prepared, and then deployed to combat. His personal disposition would allow him to be very social, and we went everywhere together. He slept in my bunk. At downtimes, we'd sit on the couch and watch whatever TV the satellite would provide, or videos. Oftentimes, he would relax with me and my two-legged mates at the front door of our mission support site, on top of a picnic bench that our engineers had made. He would greet everyone that came into the main entrance. I wasn't going to get emotional, this is crazy. He had become the mascot to us. He was truly one of us. He reminded me of what a great friend and iconic trainer of millions of dogs, Mr. Dave Reaver, had said a long time ago, that the dog is the only animal that will leave his own kind and choose humans. Choosing humans over his own kind. Blessed indeed. Make no mistake, although Falco was a loved mate among our men, the enemy did not have the pleasure of experiencing that side of his personality. He was a fierce competitor that wanted to wade into the enemy and fill him with fear, while at the same time filling his human mates with confidence and strength. Think gameness. Falco rode on helicopters, jeeps, armored vehicles, and even boats to get a chance to fight. Countless patrols and late nights, all for the simple reward of 4 cups of dry food and to play with a ball or a piece of jute. In my profession, our profession, you go through a career by achieving goals, going through gates. Each time you become part of a smaller and smaller brotherhood. Infantry school, Airborne, Ranger, Special Forces. Each time the brotherhood gets a little smaller. Free fall, sapper, you get the picture. Then it was K9 training, smaller. K9 handler in direct action combat against an armed enemy, smaller still. Then in October 2005, I became part of a fraternity I wanted no part of. To lose your K9 in combat. To see your 4-legged, no-holds-barred partner give everything he had to save your mates. Somewhere in the nameless piece of the Jazeera, the frontier, Falco gave his last full measure of devotion to us. We knew that the enemy was on the run from a structure and he was hiding in, but we could not locate him. Falco was set off lead and given the command to search for his prey. A friend of mine wrote an unofficial citation for Falco, and this is a little bit of what it says. K9 Falco and his patrol immediately began searching likely positions where the enemy might have fled. While the patrol moved on line, K9 Falco moved freely to the front of his force. As the patrol moved forward, K9 Falco caught scent of the enemy 90 degrees and 25 meters to the flank of the patrol. K9 Falco immediately moved to this position, which was undetectable by any airborne platform or night vision device. There, he attacked the enemy, who had purposely hidden in order to ambush the patrol. Once engaged by K9 Falco, the enemy gave away his hidden location. K9 Falco continued to fight the enemy, hindering his ability to use his AK-47 effectively against the patrol. The enemy was quickly surrounded, while Falco continued to fight. The enemy, however, managed to get a few shots into Falco's lower body before the patrol members could shoot and kill him. Despite multiple gunshots, K9 Falco continued to engage the enemy and only ceased when he succumbed to his wounds. Gameness. K9 Falco's valorous actions undoubtedly saved the lives of his teammates. His brave actions in closing with and killing an armed enemy and are in keeping with the highest standards of his unit, the Special Operations Command, and the United States Army. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Falco was only one of many a fearless canine trained by great men to fight and win on today's battlefield, saving lives in the process. In my old unit, few veterans are without a personal story of a dog flushing an enemy from his hiding place, running down a fleeing terrorist, or taking a bullet meant for one of us. So for those of you who aren't aware or weren't aware, that is what these amazing dogs do for humans. All for simple pleasures: a tennis ball, a cup of food, to work with the pack. For those of you that have been aware or are aware, always remember those four-leggers who have given their all. That's why we have this here. And please remember those men and women that still prepare the best fighting dogs in the history of this great and powerful nation. Remember, too, those that then take these canine partners into combat in order to save additional lives. Thank you. God bless.